Hey everyone, namaste, and this is the star weather forecast, which I titled See the Rainbow and the Pot of Gold, May 18th through May 23rd. So the date is towards the second half of May, but I'm going to go through some things that actually start as early as I think it's today, May 2nd, because Pluto actually go retrograde today. And there are some things that happen early May that I'll go through as well. But we're going to be focusing on a couple of conjunctions. So Venus-Uranus conjunction May 18th, Jupiter-Sun conjunction May 18th, and Mars-North Node conjunction May 19th, and the Jupiter-Venus conjunction on May 23rd, which I've already mentioned a couple of times in the last couple of videos, especially the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction video, and feel free to go back to that as well. And before we head over to May, I just want to review the past month because I don't know about you, it's been a doozy. It's just wow. Maybe it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm willing to give it that possibility, but I feel like I've had to do a lot of tapping myself as things come up on the surface, as well as the gifts that Jupiter-Uranus gave us. The Mercury transits, the Mercury retrograde transits in between Chiron and North Node also meant a lot of stuff came up. So let's go through this. Had a disorienting April, had difficult emotions coming out of nowhere, disrupting a sense of positive progress, or feeling vulnerable and letting go of old goals and motivations and stepping out of the comfort zone. Yes, yes, raising my hand, me. If that's the case, you are on the right track and doing very well. I've had to remind myself the same thing. So as much as the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction gave us a new direction, it definitely did, gave us a new chapter in life, at least in one area of our lives. It also came with the task of letting go of old stories and belief systems, which can leave us feeling unsure, insecure, and ungrounded, basically anxious in feeling terms. There's anxiety, as I talked about, because Saturn is also really involved in this, especially with the Saturn and Mars conjunction. And Mars is now in Aries, but before it was in Pisces in the same sign as Saturn. And with those two together, Saturn and Mars, there's always uh, that danger, that sort of risk of either suppression of um, our motivations, our desires, feeling like we're held back. And that suppression becomes anxiety, becomes depression, or an external explosion where it becomes aggression. So that's what the last month, April, has been like. Traversing between stuffing it all inside and imploding inside, and just externally spitting things out and reacting on the outside. And again, having it become just aggression. So this is all due to a sense of things shifting to the new and feeling that insecurity and not knowing how to deal with that insecurity, or not knowing how to process, how to release that insecurity. And I'm definitely one of those where I do see myself doing both. Human beings, we do that. So Mercury retrograde traversing between Chiron and North Node further magnifies this gap between the outdated muscle memories and the new path, and shows us the old baggage we must release to begin the next leg of our journey. With Mercury retrograde between Chiron and North Node, and it's making, I'll mention it a little bit later, is Mercury is going to conjunct North Node. It's moving forward now, but it's going to conjunct North Node early May, and forming this crescendo of this Mercury retrograde ping pong motion between Chiron and North Node. And that's not going to be comfortable, because again, we're going to be reminded that there's some things, it's Mercury conjuncting Chiron, my mistake. That's going to be the final crescendo to this Mercury retrograde transit. That's why it's difficult, because again, it is with Chiron. It's bringing the hopes and dreams of North Node and going through Chiron to remind us to sweep out the olds. And that's really difficult, because according to neuroscience, yes, there's neuroplasticity, we can change our brain, but it does take conscious intention to rewire. So that's what we've been doing. We've been needing to rewire our instincts, to rewire our impulses, so that they actually, the new muscle memories would benefit would benefit what's coming up. So there's this transition between the old and the new, and as I said, the transition can be abrupt, turbulent, and true to the Uranian essence, chaotic. The transition can be chaotic. But when we accept the pupation process, aka the dissolution of old forms, without knowing what comes next, we can relax into the process of emergence much more easily. Easier said than done. Easier, much easier said than done. And yet we are, in some areas of our lives, absolutely in this pupation process, where we are melting into nothingness first before we become that something again. So it's, if you're feeling a sense of being challenged, I'm definitely with you. And I see you, I feel you. It's one of those processes of life that we don't get to hide from. Okay, again, Venus is the mascot planet for 2024, especially for us in the Pacific West Coast time zone. So when in doubt, look to Venus for stability and do your natal Venus for self-care, nurturance, and support. And Venus is the mascot this year because this is a very relationship happy year, which I've analyzed in the 2024 yearly forecast. And it's also the mascot because Venus is the only planet this year, aside from the sun and the moon, because they never retrograde, but Venus is the only planet that will just be in direct motion this year. So we look to Venus for that stability. And because of just huge changes, Uranian changes that are happening this year, we really need to do a lot of self-care. And if you need ideas, highly recommend life coach and energy healer Rimi Yoshida's blog post on how to prioritize self-care. And she's included a link to a rest quiz which is an insightful test from Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith on which types of rest you most need to replenish yourself. And I believe Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith also, not that I believe, but I know that she also wrote a book. I think it's titled Sacred Rest, which you can pick up that goes into the different types of rest. So once you take the rest quiz, if you need more ideas, check out the book Sacred Rest by Dr. Dalton Smith. The only thing is that that book is, I believe, of Christian faith. So if you're not really into Christianity or the Christian language, then just be aware that the Christian language is in there. I happen to like perusing through the perspectives of different religions and spiritualities, so I have no problem with people quoting from scripture. It gives me a lot of spiritual knowledge that I really appreciate, and quotes that I actually really appreciate, but it's up to you. You be your own gauge. Okay. So now on to the May forecast and the rainbow with a pot of gold. So after the final Mercury Chiron conjunction for the year on May 6th, so that is the swing back and forth of Mercury between Chiron and North Node, and that final Mercury Chiron conjunction for the year, because this is a yearly conjunction, the Mercury Chiron, it's yearly, almost. So for the year, for this year, they're going to do their conjunction, final conjunction, May 6th. And clouds start to lift around mid-May when Venus conjunct Uranus, and then Jupiter conjunct Sun, both on May 18th, which I title Celebrate. Then Mars conjunct North Node on May 19th, a slight caution there, which I'll talk about. Then Venus conjunct Jupiter with a full moon on May 23rd. I think this is fireworks. So in my mind, this marks the luckiest week of 2024 from May 18th to May 23rd. Absolutely do not miss it. Take down these dates, circle them in your calendar so that you are conscious of good weather. You know, when there is these conjunctions, these are yearly conjunctions, and I'll mention again below is that these are yearly conjunctions, meaning that they happen on a yearly basis, and we don't notice them usually because they just happen sort of in separate pockets. But when they actually do happen synchronistically in a tight row like this, then we really get to feel it. It's like we don't really feel a note when we play a note on the piano, but when we play several notes all together, they can start to form a harmony, and we get to experience that harmony. So it's very similar here, where these benefic conjunctions are happening tight enough together that it's easier for us to feel their benefits. And I'll mention that again below. So first, on May 18th, Venus conjunct Uranus at 7:40 a.m. That's Pacific Daylight Time. So here is the Venus-Uranus conjunction happening in the 12th house collectively, which is like a new soul mission, a felt sense of new soul mission being downloaded into our conscious minds. So having clarity, this is what I would title having soul clarity, which is so much appreciated amid all of this chaos. For that split second, the clouds part and you see that ray of light as if the universe where God finally gives you some sort of clarity for us to hold on to, for us to uh, orient our lives better. So that's Venus and Uranus conjunction for us. And as you can see, Jupiter and Sun are almost conjunction. They're already conjuncting in terms of degrees when Venus-Uranus conjuncts. They're just down to the minutes in terms of exact conjunction when Uranus and Venus conjunct. So just 4 hours later, Jupiter-Sun conjuncts at 11:45 a.m. Pacific time. So right there. This is sort of the luckiest day of 2024, you could say. But with these conjunctions, my experience is that the day could go by and it would just be a smooth day. It's not like I'm going to win the jackpot or anything. It's just that for that one day, everything is running smoothly. And that's something to be aware of, to really have an appreciation for. So here is the Jupiter-Sun conjunction collectively for the Pacific time zone in the 10th house. So again, it has to do with our roles. It has to do with an expansion, sort of like an unveiling of our new role, of our new I don't want to say character. What is the word I'm looking for? Of our new identity, even sort of a societal designation, societal identity, a new reputation when we face the world. And that's because we've received this new mission, this futuristic mission in life. We've given that clarity of what our new mission is. And from that, we shift in terms of our external identity. And this is the unveiling of that new external identity. So very exciting, actually. Okay. So I'm repeating myself a little bit, but here goes. Usually these annual conjunctions are business as usual. And sometimes we experience them as no big deal because we tend not to realize when we have it good. But this year, because of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that happened April 20th, these benefic conjunctions of Venus occur in a week-long concentrated cluster. So potentially magnifying the positive effects to more recognizable degrees. So it's just like, oh, there's one great day, there's one sunny day in January and one sunny day in February. We don't feel the effects of it. But when we have a continuous streak of nice weather, then we start to really feel, the warmth. We really start to feel the harmoniousness of that energy. We start to really be able to sink in to those niceties before the weather front passes, before the nice weather front passes again. And I said, may it be so for the sake of our replenishment and enrichment. We all need a stretch of smooth sailing after 5 years of turbulence since Uranus entered Taurus in 2019. So I liken this to a tropical beach vacation amid chaos. Like out of everything that's happening for you this year and sort of all the transformations you need to do, we're all in this pupation process because of Pluto. Pluto has just gone into retrograde. I don't know if it's retrograding right now, but May 2nd it goes into retrograde again. And it's, if you're interested in the transit, go look at the Skelegro Pluto transit video. But we're still going through the process of growing a new structure for ourselves based on our new missions in life. So growing structure, growing bones is not easy. So, for this whole year, so many changes are coming up. So it's still not smooth sailing for the entire year. So this is the week where I say, be conscious about taking that tropical beach, tropical paradise, or spa vacation. Like, you'll notice that for this week, mentally, it is lighter. Everybody feels lighter. Everybody feels more positive. There's sort of the energy is, instead of being suppressed, it's more of an ascending energy, uplifting energy. So I do liken this to a beach vacation. If you can literally go for a beach vacation this week, good for you. But for those of us who need to work at the beaches, right, and serve those who are on a beach vacation, just notice how things are running smoothly and enjoy the workflow. Enjoy the workflow. Because the relief is fairly palpable, the relief from the chaos, the relief from the pains of growing new bones, new structures, of shifting to a whole new chapter in our lives, is really palpable that week. So those of us conditioned to turbulence may need a bit of an awareness boost to get out of the numbness. And that's why we do forecasts, right? To remind ourselves that, okay, we have a week where things will seem to all work out. And if I blink, if I zone out, I'm going to miss it. So let's be aware. And if you've adapted to learn helplessness through the pandemic and post-pandemic years, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, raising my hand, consciously practice seeing the rainbow at least for the week of May 18th through May 23rd. If I'm wrong, then you can go right back to bracing yourself for the worst. But if the rainbow may really be there, then allow yourself to really see it and marvel at the brilliance that can come in the form of personal achievements, work, professional partnership successes, or whatever I said. You might be experiencing a glowing up in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction forecast in part 2. And really feel the positivity of these transits, meaning that, when you're out on a beach, on vacation, in a beach setting, consciously be there. Don't bring your phones, your electronics, and don't bring that mind chatter to the beach. Just exhale, release, consciously soak in the beach, consciously soak in the sun, soak in the warm, nice breeze instead of the hurricane, right? It's a nice breeze. For that split second, everything is working out. So be there. Mentally be there. And for some of us, it takes meditation. It takes practice to be in the now. If you're able to be in the now without any sort of practice, training, mental training, mindfulness practice, Good for you. I am not one of them. I continue to need meditation practice, mindfulness practice to actually be in a state of receptivity and gratitude to be able to be on the beach when I'm actually on the beach. So just a reminder for any of us who need that extra awareness boost, be sure to enter this week with mindfulness practice in your pocket. So milk feel the positivity of these transits because it involves us actually getting a respite from the long shadows of Pluto as it begins to retrograde again on May 2nd. So as I'm recording it today, this is when it's happening, and it's going to slowly back into Capricorn September 1st before coming back to Aquarius again November 19th. And you can review this Pluto transit in the Skelegro Max post. And for the split second, everything is good. Just for the split second of a week, everything seems to be a warm tropical breeze. So milk it. I'm going to mention a caveat, a little bit of a caveat, hopefully not too much. So a slight caveat here, because Chiron is still a main player with ruler Mars coming into conjunction with North Node on May 19th. So just a day after all of these beneficial conjunctions between Venus and Uranus and Jupiter and Sun, right the next day, North Node conjuncts Mars, where Mars is going to go and conjunct North Node. And with North Node, it can behave like Rahu in the Vedic sense when it's in transit with the other planets. So usually we read North Node, or at least I read South Node and North Node in terms of evolutionary astrology. When we read birth charts, I tend to follow the Jungian definitions for North Node and South Node. Our fixations in terms of South Node, the shadow manifestations in terms of South Node, and sort of our North Node mission, where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to practice, and what we lack practice in our past lives. And now we have to overcome a sense of ignorance and a lack of practice to really get to whatever it is we're supposed to get for the North Node position. But I find that in transit, North Node and South Node really behave more in the Vedic sense, meaning Rahu comes into play. So there is, what does that mean? There's potential here for being sucked into overindulgence or hyper-reactivity instead of thoughtfulness. And the positive manifestation would be wise action. With Mars, it feels like we want to be in action. We want to take initiative. We want to spearhead. We want to trailblaze. We want to move forward. We want to go, go, go. And when Mars and Rahu are together, there could be some impulsiveness going on and overindulgence, hyper-reactivity. So it is apropos that Moon would be in Libra. So here is the Mars and North Node conjunction right there, and right opposite is your South Node or Ketu in the Vedic sense, and the Moon conjunction in Libra together with South Node Ketu. And it brings temperance and the spirit of reciprocity to the table because, opposite of Aries is Libra, which brings a sense of compromise and reciprocity. So when you feel the urge to charge forward, regardless of consequence, which Mars and Rahu can bring us, that impulse, remember that wounding can happen to either action or to either party if action based on reactivity is taken at this time. So it's like you'll be given an opportunity to step forward and step up to take lead in a new role, as we talked about in the Jupiter-Sun conjunction, where it's in the 10th house for us collectively. We are absolutely revealing our new role, and we're ready to take on the new role and expand our reach in terms of getting our hands dirty in the new role. So be proud and celebrate your initiative. But do not forget the partnerships that supported you and may still bring you down if you overinflate. And here's the tip. Even if there are no circumstances where you can give thanks openly, express gratitude energetically, because we're one. The energy is flowing. So as long as you are practicing it energetically, it's going to be there, even if you're not voicing gratitude face to face with the other party. So integrate reciprocity with action. Then the deleterious effects of Mars Rahu would be tempered. Otherwise, in Vedic mythology, Rahu, North Node, carries a sword and will entice the native to overindulge and grow in ego, for Rahu to cut it off more cleanly after, leading to the native's fall and humiliation. And if this is the path that we partake and we can't help but partake, then surrender to this process and give thanks to Rahu's blessing of humility and clarity. With the Vedic grahas are planetary gods or planetary sort of rulers. They're all benevolent. They may take on faces of fierce teachers, even sort of aggressive, violent teachers, like Rahu can be sometimes. But all of the grahas, all of the planets orient themselves towards spirituality, towards the greater good. So the way that Rahu teaches, the way that North Node teaches, is to grow your ego and then to slash it off. That's how this teacher teaches. So I'm saying with Mars conjuncting with Rahu, this is especially the conjunction where the Rahu will teach in this way, where it will make you stand out as much as possible. It'll make you inflate your ego as much as possible and then just nip it. So just a caution there, but again, Moon and Ketu is there to give us that spiritual connection. Ketu in the Vedic sense is spiritual ascension, a spiritual perspective in its highest octave. It's the nothingness, it's the emptiness of spirituality. So with the moon, it reminds us that we are nothing. without our community. We are nothing without love, without care for each other, especially in Libra, is love and care for each other. It is reciprocity. So consciously integrate those two together. We're not trying to say that it's better to go towards North Node or it's better to go towards South Node. I tend not to take that perspective. I know some astrologers do. They do read the South Node as something to avoid and North Node as something to desire, to skillfully desire. Of course, they mention that as well. For me, both are required. It's a dance of integration. And in Vedic astrology, or I'll put it this way, I take it in how the Vedic astrologers have defined South and North Node, is that it's a dance and it's a lesson of integration that we're looking for with the nodes. And for this integration, we're just needing to be aware of when we want to claim credit without honoring those who supported us through our journey. So even those who supported us are no longer around us. It makes a difference when we're able to mentally give thanks. Then your energy shifts and Rahu won't be, coming close with his sword to take you down in sort of more detrimental, humiliating ways. So integrate the two. Not to say that you shouldn't have pride. Definitely have pride over what you are doing. Have pride for how far you've come. And it's an and also recognize others. Okay. If this is the path, okay, we've gone over this. So coming back to reciprocity, let's remember Ubuntu, I am because we are. It is paramount at this time. And this is the axes of Ubuntu. This is the Aries and Libra axes. Aries is the I, and Libra is the we, and both are needed. I can be who I am because we are. And I would also iterate it in the reverse. We're able to be we because I am myself strong. If I am weak, if I am nilly-willy, undefined, then it's hard for me to be a strong pillar in the community, to be a strong support for the other. So both are needed. Individuality and a sense of reciprocity are needed. Then on May 23rd, Venus-Jupiter will conjunct in the last degree of Taurus with the moon in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, only 2 degrees away from the full moon. Pluto's sun will be in a strong trine supporting the full moon. So here is Jupiter-Venus conjunction, which we've already seen this chart before in the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction video and post. So this is happening very close to the full moon. When moon is opposite the sun, it's full moon. It's only 2 degrees away from the full moon, and let's just call this a full moon. Let me get some tea here. So this is all the hard work that we have done in the sign of Taurus coming into fruition with positive results. 29 degrees is what they call an aretic degree. It's like almost something, but it's not. And yet when they're in conjunction, I see it as the planetary gods leaving us a gift, a final gift before they move on to the next sign. This is Jupiter and Venus leaving rainbows and a pot of gold for us before they close out their transit in Taurus. We shouldn't have to look hard to find the goodies. It would be right there in front of us. It should be fairly obvious what this conjunction is about for you. All we have to do is to claim it, give thanks, in the spirit of reciprocity and partnership. Remember, we did not arrive at this Jupiter-Venus accolade alone. So before Rahu forces us to recognize this through humiliating and detrimental means, offer the we mentality out of your own accord. You could write a gratitude list with people to thank, opportunities to be grateful for, and honor those who came before you and who are still shoulder to shoulder supporting your journey. And I'm not saying this because this is the right thing to do. This is the good thing to do. This is what we should do anyways. I'm saying this because it is in the charts. This is in the storyline of, as we talked about, the Mars and Rahu conjunction with the Ketu and Moon conjunction. It's because of this axis that I'm saying let's have gratitude in our hearts. I say it for very practical and astrological reasons. If the charts are not asking us to focus on it, I wouldn't say it. Or this is good to have always, right? A sense of gratitude and thankfulness for everything that is around us, paying attention to what is working, that it's a no-brainer. It's a truism. And I'm saying it for this video because it is very particularly critical to be able to have a sensibility for recognizing the other, for reciprocity. Simply because we have Rahu and Ketu in Aries and Libra in play. And also because there was another reason why we must have this gratitude in mind. It's one of them, of course, it's Venus is giving us these benefits. And as Venus is very tied to, as Moon and Ketu is in Libra, who is ruled by Venus, for us to be able to receive these rainbows, to be able to see the rainbows, to be able to recognize that, oh man, I'm sitting on a beach right now. It takes almost like a spiritual awareness. It takes that awareness of how much we've gained through the partnerships we've had in life, how much we've gained through the support that we've had. And it is from that space that we're able to really receive the benefits of the Venus and Uranus conjunction, along with the Jupiter-Sun conjunction. Again, just because they're all in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So try it out. Try out gratitude as you sit on the proverbial beach. Allow gratitude to wash through you and see what happens. See if you're able to see that extra vivacity in the beach scene. Milk it. That's what I'm getting to. Milk it. All right. Lastly, as mentioned in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction post, this Jupiter-Venus accolade opportunity also comes at a financial physical cost, either for you and or for the financial stakeholders. So take good care of both during this time and do your Venus self-care routines if there are added physical demands from stepping up to the plate. As mentioned in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction part 1 post, even if you don't control the finances, keep communicating the big visions and dreams for the financial support to eventually align with you. So with Jupiter-Venus manifestations, it's manifesting wherever Uranus is for you, which we talked about in Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Part 2 for the individual forecasts. But as we're doing this expansion, there is financial or actual physical efforting costs. So that's why Venus self-care, again, is just doubly important during this time. So be really mindful about when you need rest or when you need to watch for the finances and make sure that the cash flow is healthy. It's really, really important. Again, if you don't control the finances, if you're just in charge of putting out the vision, putting out the goals for other people, then keep communicating the big visions and the dreams. And then the finances will follow. And we've gone over the story arc in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction video as well. So this is just a fun aside. So I wasn't really noticing it until I was shopping for a new MacBook, and then I saw that Apple is going to have an event on May 7th in the morning at 7 a.m. And I realized that it's 11 hours after the Mercury Chiron conjunction on May 6th. So it's going to happen right after the night of the Mercury Chiron conjunction, which I find it really interesting. So it got my juices flowing, and I wonder how this is going to affect this announcement or this event. So I'm just riffing here. I think this can indicate that they may unveil something that they don't actually have 100% confidence yet. And they may be vulnerable to criticism if they take the Rahu Mars bait and overinflate their promise. Or this may indicate an announcement of sorrowful news because it is Chiron. Mercury is about communication. Chiron is hurt. So there could be sorrowful news, sad news, such as retiring certain products to make way for the new, or personnel changes, retirement announcements, who knows? And just like the personal forecast, if they're able to play the we card and heed to honest critique, the chances of success for whatever the announcement is still high, because all of the subsequent Venus and Jupiter transits are all supporting whatever this announcement is. So they may have to take some heat in the beginning, but I have to say, as far as timing goes, this is not a bad timing for announcements. And another way to play this to Apple's advantage is to use this opportunity to support the wounded, because we're talking about wounded healer. So this is where we can start to use astrology, where we see, oh, Mercury is actually conjuncting Chiron. How do we want to play this? You know, if I don't want to become the victim, then maybe I could support others who who are wounded, who are the victims. That's another way to play this. So we can support someone like the veterans, mental or physical trauma patients, recovering athletes, or any kind of contribution to first response, ER, through technological development on the consumer level. And similar to the personal forecast, this development comes at a cost. For example, needing for investors to get on board, but that's old news, right? Development is costly. This can potentially propel the company into a brand new role in society, as we talked about. Just like the personal chart, the same thing goes through companies as well, because all of us are adopting a new role in society. Chances are Apple is also going to adopt a new role in society. So I'm bringing back this old example. Maybe partnering with Lindsay Sterling, a marine biologist, basically any influencer with a professional expert to save the environment. You know, it's possible. So the point being that they could also be aligning with a certain cause or a certain organization that has a very strong cause behind them to shift their identity, to shift the company's identity into something new, and hence shifting their mission. So that's just something that's possible that I see. Okay. And that's my 3 minutes of fun. Here's a recommended video for this month. And I apologize, it's a video that, you know, you can't click in through this video, but do go over to my post, the original blog post, and from there you can click on this link. So here's the recommended video for this month. We go straight to the heart for some deep nourishment of the soul and a tribute to our shared humanity and the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. So this video, I put in this video as a companion to May because it demonstrates Ubuntu. I am because we are, which is what is very much needed to navigate the extremes of the Mars and North Node conjunction and the extremes of even the good news that we're going to receive in May. It gives us perspective to be grateful for ourselves, to remember our own humanity, and to remember other people's humanity as well. So enjoy. And another beautiful message from beautiful soul. I love this video. This person said in the video, be kind to others, but be kinder to yourself. Love others, but love yourself more. And this is in response to the self-care that I said that we really need to be looking into because of the expansion in our responsibilities based on the shift in mission, based on the shift in our societal roles. We're going to be taking on more, maybe not more, but we're going to be taking on something new at a different level. So it's going to exhaust us mentally and physically. So it's important to rest. It's important to take care of the self, no matter what support you need. Either it's needing to see a life coach, therapist, needing to just hang out with friends, needing to just sit at the beach for 5 hours straight. Don't forget sun protection. Just whatever it is you need, be aware this is the time to really see your needs. As I said in 2024 forecast, I think it was that video where this is a year where we're going to be faced with our own needs. We're going to be taken by the universe. We're going to be shown where our unmet needs are. And this is one of those times to really do self-care and fulfill those needs legally and without infringing on other people's rights. I shouldn't have to say this disclaimer, but yeah, as long as it's in reciprocity, fulfill your needs. And this person just gives us a beautiful, beautiful reminder. And there's so many beautiful and quotable takes on life from her, and I won't spoil it for you. Just watch and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful video and this beautiful soul. And if you have some time to peruse, the same channel offers many other inspiring videos with diverse voices and perspectives. That's why I so appreciate this channel. I forgot what it's called, sorry, but you know, go watch this video and click on the channel, and they offer diversity on that channel, which again, I really appreciate. Diverse cultures, diverse people, diverse backgrounds, diverse perspectives, and I really appreciate that. So hopefully you're able to find a lot of resonance and soul satisfaction and enrichment for yourself and from these people. So have a success-filled and joyous month of May. Again, going to summarize a bit. Overall, it's still a mixed bag because Chiron is still in play. It's still in the mix. The Chiron energy is absolutely still in the mix. But I feel that as long as we're able to integrate it with a sense of gratitude, with a sense of really seeing those who have supported us along the way, and even if we're not able to utter it to that person, because especially in the business situation, you just don't get gooey, on your business partner, but to elicit that emotionality from within will allow you to radiate that energy and allow that energy to be experienced by the other person in the felt sense without needing to utter, those exact words. It's about the energy that we radiate. So as long as we do that, I think the benefiting aspects and conjunctions this month can really allow us to exhale and allow us to feel a sense of upliftment, energetic upliftment after such a long period of chaos and insecurity and feeling unsure and anxiety, so on and so forth. This is the break in the clouds, and we want to be looking for God. And this is just an analogy. I'm not saying it in sort of a religious sense. This is when the clouds will break. We don't want to be, heads to the grindstone, heads to our cell phones. We don't want to be bogged down by these day-to-day logistics where we are missing the light. For this month, really consciously recognize that we get to receive this uplifting replenishment, and we want to be there for it. So Ubuntu, lastly, Ubuntu, I am because we are. And I want to thank you so much for your contribution to humanity. And thank you for resonating. Thank you for whatever it is you do in the world. And of course, your inner peace is my inner peace, really is world peace. So again, have a success-filled and joyous month of May and enjoy these amazing, amazing videos that explores our shared humanity. You are the sunshine. So I'll see you guys next time. Namaste.